Oh, in post-Assad Syria, chaos reigns. Deadly ambushes in the east, sectarian bloodshed in the capital, and in the shadows of Iraq's deserts, Tehran trains its next army as the Islamic State resurges and Iran redraws its map of power. Who's really shaping Syria's future? A second consecutive day of deadly clashes has gripped the outskirts of Syria's capital, with at least 11 people, including civilians and security personnel, reported killed following renewed violence in the town of Ashrafia, southwest of Damascus. According to state media, the fighting erupted overnight after unidentified gunmen launched an attack on a government security checkpoint. The assault triggered a swift response from Syrian security forces, who closed major access routes into the area and deployed reinforcement in a bid to contain the unrest. Residents described a night and day of intense violence marked by sustained gunfire, explosions, and shelling. Eyewitness accounts suggest the violence has taken a significant toll on the local population, many of whom remain trapped amid the crossfire. The incident follows a similarly deadly confrontation in Ramana, a Druze majority suburb of Damascus, where at least 10 people were killed just a day earlier under still unclear circumstances. The fighting began after an audio clip circulated on social media of a man criticizing Islam's prophet Muhammad. The audio clip was attributed to Druze cleric Marwan Kiwan, quickly stirring outrage among Sunni communities. However, one in a public statement denied his involvement, calling the recording a provocation intended to sow sectarian strife. I categorically deny that the audio was made by me. I did not say that. And whoever made it is an evil man who wants to incite strife between components of the Syrian people. The fighting with small and medium arms fire left 13 people dead, according to local rescue workers. Among the dead were 2 members of Syria's General Security Service, a new security force composed mostly of former rebels. According to Interior Ministry spokesperson Mustafa Al-Abdo, Abdo denied that armed gunmen had attacked the town, saying instead that groups of civilians angered by the voice recording had staged a protest that came under fire from Druze groups. The Interior Ministry said in a statement it was investigating the audio clip, adding that its initial probe showed the cleric was not responsible. The ministry urged people to abide by the law and not to act in a way that undermines security. Meanwhile, the members of the Syrian security forces were deployed at the entrance to Jamana on April 29th after the deadly clashes. The fighting marked the latest episode of deadly sectarian violence in Syria, where fears among minorities have been swelling since Islamist-led rebels ousted former leader Bashar al-Assad from power in December, installing their own government and security forces. Those fears spiked after the killings of hundreds of Alawites in March in apparent revenge for an attack by Assad loyalists. Meanwhile, neighboring Israel has said that it was willing to intervene in Syria to protect the Druze, thousands of whom also live in Israel and in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, which Israel captured from Syria in the 1967 Six-Day War. The Islamic State militant group on April 28th claimed responsibility for an ambush that killed 5 Kurdish fighters, its deadliest strike in months. Though territorially defeated in 2019, the jihadist group remains entrenched in Syria's desert peripheries, using guerrilla tactics and propaganda to regain relevance. Farhad Shami, spokesperson for Syria's Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF, confirmed to Reuters that 5 of its members were killed in the attack, which he described as one of the deadliest against the group, and while 0.5 of our fighters were martyred and several wounded while repelling 2 attacks in Deir ez-Zor province. They were among a series of organized terrorist attacks in the province. Our forces have intensified security measures and increased patrols throughout the region. Deir al-Zor city was captured by the Islamic State group in 2014, but the Syrian army retook it in 2017, The militant group imposed hardline Islamist rule over millions of people in Syria and Iraq for years, once ruling a vast caliphate. ISIS now operates in the shadows. Its leadership fragmented, but its ideology unbroken. The December 2024 collapse of Bashar al-Assad's regime created a power vacuum that ISIS is seeking to exploit, particularly in tribal regions and areas held by the U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces. President Ahmad al-Sarraj's new government has become a prime target. ISIS media, especially its al-Nabil newsletter brands al-Sharaa, a Western puppet leveraging tribal grievances, governance gaps, and online incitement to undermine the fragile transition. While ISIL's attacks have declined due to joint U.S. SDF operations and Syrian security crackdowns, its tactics are shifting: fewer large-scale assaults, more targeted killings, and sleeper cell activity, often disguised through local tribal actors. Meanwhile, fake news reported on the 29th of April that Iraqi member of parliament, Alaa al-Haidari, has filed a lawsuit with the Iraqi public prosecution against the new Syrian president, Ahmad al-Sharaa. In a video statement from the Supreme Judicial Council building, Haidari said, "Smither, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. We attended the meeting of the Judiciary Council of the United Arab Emirates. I would like to thank the Judiciary Council of the United Arab Emirates for its support and for its support of the Giuliani terrorism in the Middle East. We stand with personal right as the brother of the martyred Sayyid Ahmad al-Haidari. I would also like to thank the martyred Najib al-Hajj al-Salihi. I believe that the martyrs who were martyred in the struggle for freedom of the country and for the sanctity of the country. Today we began to move this complaint against this terrorist criminal who is one of the leaders of the terrorist organization of ISIS on the Arab lands. May God Almighty grant him success and, God willing, the security of the people of Iraq. I would also like to thank the President of the United Arab Emirates, Mohsen Alji Hijazi. Thank you very much." Meanwhile, Iran is quietly reasserting its military footprint in post-Assad Syria, this time not through visible deployment, but by forging a new proxy force across the border in western Iraq. According to a report by the Media Line, Shiite militias and officers from Iran's Revolutionary Guard have begun training thousands of former Assad loyalists in remote desert camps in Iraq's Anbar province. The camps near Al-Qaim, close to the Syrian border, are being used to shape a pro-Tehran fighting force that could help Iran maintain influence in a post-Assad landscape. The recruits include Syrian military personnel who fled to Iraq after the collapse of Assad's regime. Eyewitnesses and military sources say they arrived with tanks, artillery, and armored vehicles later confiscated by Iraqi authorities. Initially, Iraqi officials confirmed that more than 5,000 Syrian troops, including officers, had sought refuge and would be treated as guests until their legal status was clarified. Now, according to a senior source close to the Iraqi government, many of these fighters are being trained in camps built under the supervision of officers from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. The source added the camp is in the desert and was built under the supervision of officers from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Throughout this period, the Syrian officers were hiding in the Al-Surkar area south of Baghdad, an area considered the headquarters of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard in Iraq. He said that training is taking place in several camps affiliated with Iran-backed militias. The Iraqi government is well aware of this, but denies it because it is so sensitive. Eyewitness Brian Al-Dalami told the Media Line he saw dozens of four-wheel drive vehicles moving Syrian soldiers through the desert operated by Iraqi militias, including Iraqi Hezbollah. One of these vehicles stopped near me and asked why I was there with my colleagues. They asked me to leave the area and hunt elsewhere. When I left, another vehicle stopped me for help after it was stuck in the desert. When I asked why so many vehicles were there, they told me they were on a mission to help our Syrian brothers. The Iraqi government has officially denied any knowledge of the training operations. However, the same anonymous source confirmed to the Media Line that authorities are aware of the activity but are keeping silent due to its sensitivity. Iranian-backed Shiite militias have maintained a significant presence in Anbar since Iraq's 2017 victory over ISIS. These same routes and camps were previously used to funnel support to the Assad regime and Lebanese Hezbollah. Meanwhile, Syria's internal dynamics remain in flux. On April 27th, Rami Maklouf, a cousin of Assad and influential businessman, announced the formation of new elite forces in cooperation with Suhail al-Hassan, former commander of the regime's special forces known as the Tiger. In a statement on his official media account, Maklouf said the goal of these forces is to protect the people of the coastal region, not to seek revenge. The force would include 150,000 active fighters, another 150,000 reservists, and up to 1 million supporters in popular committees. Maklouf also accused the new Syrian government of failing to protect the coastal population from violence and called for its cooperation in securing the country.